Let's start here. I was looking before. Let me just a few minutes ago before we started. Let me give you my view on dollar CAD and the Euro USD. I was expecting to have a setup here, but I think it's not going to happen. So we have this down channel, but I'm expecting this to have a pop higher. We have some demand levels down here. We would have to go backwards in time to find demand. So even if price goes down, I expect some push to the upside. And today we were trading this channel right here. We were on a kind of a bullish day, and then we had this breakout right here. You can see the breakout level, and that little break, you can see it formed on the breakout level demand area. Okay, we had this resistance here, and that formed a nice demand area. And that's the reason why sometimes you might heard that resistance becomes support, or demand becomes supply, or the opposite. That's true when you find a strong breakout. So we do see the breakout here, some consolidation, and then the retracement. So this is the first time price is visiting this demand area. So this is one of my favorite setups, kind of being aligned with the overall trend with the day, and you know, a break higher, and then the first retracement to that area, and I will be looking to buy this market. But you can see how the price, you know, we touch and react. Let's go a bit closer. So we did touch the area and then reacted, but there was no follow through. So now that this tail has failed this level, we might expect now some break to the downside. So unless this candlestick ends up forming a tail in the bottom, something like this candle right here, I will pass on this trade. We need to know when it's the best just to stay in the sidelines, not just jumping in the market. But you know, this setup has all the requisites I like to see on a trade or on a pattern. So let's see if there's a tail. We have 30 more seconds, so let's see how this ends up forming. If it leaves a tail on the bottom part, I will take a buy order, and my stop loss will be very, very tight, will be below the tail. And what I'm expecting to see is, you know, some buyers interested in buying these levels, and then a continuation higher. But it's a bit early, and the way it's closing now, it's not giving me a lot of confidence on this pattern. So I think I will just pass on this one. You know, this is a classic rally, base, and drop. So if any, this has formed some supply now, and the next, if now we see a continuation of this kind of movement, this compressionary movement, this channel towards that supply area, this is now a nice supply, I would be looking to sell that area right there. Okay, so I'm passing on the buy, and I'm just on a waiting day. I guess retracement higher, I will look to short this market right now. So that's for the dollar CAD, and the other one is the Euro USD. You can see, I believe there was some news or something causing this movement. It was very unexpected. So if we go again to the daily, and we see our big picture, we might be forming now a bottoming pattern. You can see this kind of V shape. Let's see how it looks on the, yeah, it's not that clear. Okay, but that kind of shape is a very classic bottom pattern. If that was just a pullback and then a continuation lower, I believe we would have seen that some days ago, and a continuation lower. But now that this has been pushing higher and higher, we have broke, you can see we have broke you know, a few days highs, 3-day highs already. So we're touching the highs. Let me see if there's some supply here to stop this movement. Let me see this area more in detail. Yeah, so we do have, okay, let me close that one. So you can see this supply here. Let's see where that, okay, so we have, let's throw another line. Now let's go back to today. Okay, so we have another almost 30 pips to get to the bottom of that supply area. So we should see a continuation of that bullish movement, at least to that red line. We were trending for a few days now, this sideways market, and we're trying to break that that channel. So if I go now to the 5-minute chart, we had the kind of the breakout, and then we had a pullback, and then we're trying to continue it. So what are the possible scenarios? This is something I try to run in my head, possible scenarios for this formation. It might move sideways. We can see we're forming tails on the bottom, on the top, I'm sorry. So we might not see a break of those highs, at least for today. So we might see a continuation, and that in that case, we'll try to buy. We might see a sideways movement forming. So similar to what we saw here, we saw the rally and then the sideways movements and then the drop. So we might see something similar. We might see the rally, sideways movement, and then either pop higher or pop down. So I don't want to be buying the highs. So I want to be a buyer, but not at the highs, correct? I want to wait for the market to come to these levels, to the lows, and then I'll try to buy that area. Or if there's a pullback, then I'll try also to join. How deep will that pullback be? I have no idea, but if we go to the 1-minute chart, we might see some clues. Maybe to that area, there'll be a little demand that will be maybe enough to push the to pop the market higher. And if that level fails, I don't see anything till the bottom. So again, I'm early in this trade. I need the market to come either to the lows here, and I will buy, or to form a pullback to these levels, and I will buy. That's my plan for the Euro USD. Let me see if I see anything else. I'll go quickly on the dollar franc on the daily chart. We're in a very interesting point right now because we have this nice uptrend and we have the retracement, and we are right now, let's wait this to load. If we go back, you can see we had this demand area right here. So we are about to break those lows. The price has already reacted to those, to the demand area. You can see if I throw a line right there. So price already reacted once, twice, third time, and now it's pushing once again. So this might end up breaking lower. And if that happens, we might see a bull, a push lower on the daily chart till next demand, which I believe it's down here. We would have to go to lower time frame, so we can try to catch if there's a breakout of these lows. That would be I could wait for a strong breakout. I want to see a nice breakout candle and follow through, and then pull back to the breaking area, and then a continuation. So that would be very similar to what I was looking back here on the dollar CAD. A break, a pull back to that area, and then a continuation. Okay, it's just getting overextended. Guys, there's nothing better than just, you know, opening the trading room and having some setups in front of us, but that doesn't happen every time. So I guess if any of you has a setup, we can look at it while we wait. Pound yen. Let's go to pound yen. I'll go through the. Let me just keep this open to have an eye on it. Let's go through the chat. Okay, the pound yen. Just before I give you what I was doing, because I had a trade already. We had this nice uptrend, pullback, continuation, pullback, and I was expecting after this sideways movement, two sideways movement, and the tail in the bottom, I was expecting some continuation. So I was long actually on the pound yen. But this, you know, as I saw prices coming down, I just closed, because instead of 50 pips profit, I took like 20, and now it's going down. And if that level breaks, I don't see anything from holding that market to go to those levels. Let's just refine those a little bit. Yeah, so that's the refined demand area, I guess. So if there's some so if buyers fail to hold that level, you can see 1, 2, 3 times we're on those level. We could see a continuation of at least 60 pips. And I believe we will see some reaction to that area before we break down that area, if we break out. Daniel, euro, pound. Let's look at that. I don't know if I have it here. Let's open that. Euro, pound, euro, pound. Potential supply area 4 hour, but currently euro is stronger than GBP. Let's just try to understand what's your level. 87.90, 87. $90. Okay, so I don't know if you refer to this one or to this one. We have both. So there's this supply, and we have also let me just try to see the context of these markets. Yeah, those are great ones. Yeah, I like those ones. I would like to see how price gets to that area. But those are very nice, very nice, very nice supply areas. I think I will write those to myself, and I'll have them present, because I like those ones. I mean, on the daily, we have this strong rally. So that have created demand as well. But I see we will have some opportunity to short these two areas, especially if you know, the price continue higher and hasn't have any pullback or sideways movement. So if it just continues higher and higher and higher, those will be the great places that will cause the market to react, okay, to retrace. So I like that call. That's a nice one. Dollar CAD. Dollar CAD. What time frame are you looking at, Bruno? CAD franc. Let me open up. Who was for CAD franc? Mose, I think was you, holding a sell to 71.30. Where do you get in, Mose? I like the sell. I think it looks similar to the dollar franc that we already discussed. So I do see a potential short sell. We just need to, you know, be aware that new demand might be formed from out of the blue. You know, news announcement or something might cause these levels, or in the euro CAD franc, those levels to hold and create a spike higher. But if we see continuation to the lower side, I agree with would be more bearish. Let's see, euro yen. And this is supply, basic and current price. Euro yen. David Kim, I think. Where do you see, on what time frame you recognize the supply? For a minute. Yeah. I mean, this is not the most classic supply. There is resistance, and because of how price has formed, I if I would be shorting this market. You know, this is I love this sideways movement. These consolidations, I always short the bottoms and buy I'm sorry, I short the tops and I buy the bottoms. I'm not sure I would consider that a supply area. It's not very clear on any. You don't see the aggressive movement down from that single area, from that area. So you can trade it short, but just the movement you're waiting for, which is the reaction lower, might happen all the way to the top up there. So just be aware of that. That in fact looks more as a supply than this one, but this movement might be already the reaction to that supply. So that supply might be unvalidated already. So I'm not sure it's going to hold. But if I give you an example from yesterday on the 5-minute chart, that was that was the end of the, about same time now, Euro USD, we had all this sideways movement, which I sell the tops. I believe it was here, and I bought and I sell and I bought and I sell and I bought and I sell, and this same movement might be formed. Where were we? Might be formed here, just a different time frame, correct? But the patterns, consolidations, expansions, they all happen in all time frames. So even if that's not a supply, this, it's a valid sell, even if that's not a supply. Okay, I'll take a, no, I was about to, but I'm not sure I will now. I think this is overextended. And in order for this to continue higher, I would really like to see, guys, this is it's not a great trade. So don't try this at home, but I'll take a shot, okay? I'm just trying to anticipate the next movement in the market, because you can see the tail, the reaction, that might be a reaction to let me get closer to those levels. Okay, that that was a supply, so we're getting closer to the last buyer of that supply area, and because of how it's forming on the 5-minute chart, we can see there's some, you can see all the tail activity on the top. So maybe, and this is not a great setup, in order for this to continue higher, I would like to see the market come down or move sideways before continuing higher. So I'm just trying to anticipate the next movement, the short-term movement, which is the little retracement lower in order to continue higher. So this will be, if it succeeds, will be a little scalp, not more than that. But it's not a great trade. So my stop loss needs to be above that tail. That's a good question, Nick. And thanks for the question. I would rather for everyone to see it. So if you can change your settings on your chat, everyone can see that your question. So my stop loss needs to be on the top, above the tail, because if we break the tail, so there will be more movement to the upside. We said our first analysis is we are expecting the price to go all the way to that line, but maybe it won't happen today. Maybe that will happen, or not in the next hours. So the market needs to move sideways or retrace in order to invite more buyers to join and then to push the market higher. But you can see we're already, we were anticipating the next movement the market needs. So it's just this one. So 5 pips for me would be more than enough on this trade. I'm not looking to be very greedy on the trade. Let me see if we see some. Yeah, I guess that level needs to be my target. You can see on the 1-minute chart, there's a little bit of support here and there. So that would be a good target between now and that level. And of course, I'll wait for we're very early on the candle. We have 3 more minutes on this 5-minute candle. So if that closes on the top part of the bar, I will also get out of the trade. I don't want to be holding that one much higher. But something's very underrated, I would say, is taking these little trades on the market. Sometimes we were aiming, for a certain amount of return on our accounts, or we want to achieve something. Sometimes it's easier to take little trades off the market and make little profits in order to get to that result than trying to or expecting the market off the 5-minute chart to give you a 50 pip win. That doesn't happen that much. Last week we did cut that. The trade we held last week, it ended up giving like 60 pips. It was a great trade. But we don't always get that from the charts on the lower time frames. So we just need to adapt our expectations to what the market can give us. And this is a counter trend, obviously a counter trend trade. So I also need to keep that in mind. If I able to get a buy and I see that starts pushing higher, so that I might consider holding that for higher. But from this trade, to expect more than 5 pips, that's a bit greedy. So that's what I'm trying to do. So let's wait 1 more minute. Let's see how this candle closes, and we'll decide if I hold it a little bit long, or I'll just kill it. I could, if this closes on the low side, I could bring my stop loss to the high of the candle. I think that will take me out of the trade. But if it pushes lower, I'll be in a risk-free situation. And if it turns and breaks the high of that candle, then I'm out of the trade. Okay, so that closing on the candle, that's kind of showing me that the buyers are interested in this market. So this might be the start of the next leg higher. So let's watch. And now this is getting overextended. Let me show you what I mean. If we, this is a very nice technique. If we measure, the lower movements of the market, look at this. From pivot high to pivot low, but on, okay, so, and we measure those. So we have 14 pips and 20 pips and 26 pips and 31 pips. So maybe the average of these movements is something about 20 pips or so. And this movement from, from pivot high to pivot low, it's already 50 or almost 60 pips. So this is very, very, very overextended without showing any kind of pullback in order to continue lower. So I'm expecting this to continue lower, but in order for that, it needs the same than here. Okay, it needs either a sideways movement or a retracement in order to continue lower. So we could start to fade that market. Okay, we could recognize some levels, maybe these levels right here. Where's the market most likely to stop in order to do that retracement before it continues lower? So we could wait for the market to come to this area and then start building buying positions just for little scalps and then we can close those buys and then go short if we expect this to continue lower, on the long-term perspective. So let me just clean the charts a little bit. Yeah, Nick, if you're short here, you're in a great trade. We do have some demand. There's demand there, and yeah, not much. It's not a lot of demand, so I do see this continuing lower. But do expect, if you're trying to swing this trade and holding it, for longer, you need to expect those retracements before the market continues in your favor. So, so you need to let your wins run. But you're in a great trade. Okay, now if let's go back to the Euro USD. If the Euro fails to form a higher high, I would say it won't continue in the next minute. So I think we could try to sell again, because this might be start going sideways. So let's keep an eye open. Let me see if there's divergence there. Let me throw. No. RSI. No, there's no divergence yet. But if we try to push higher and it fails, I guess that will form a divergence, and that will build an argument for a short. So now that I have seen there's no divergence, I will hold with the short, and I'll wait for the price to come back and then buy these areas right here. And okay, I hope I didn't miss that entry. $10 pips. Okay, don't try this at home, guys. Let's jump to the first buy. I want my stops to be there. And that now, if price comes lower to this area, I will buy again, and then I will get out. Okay, if that fails, if that area doesn't hold, I will get out of the trade. I'm just waiting for this overextension to rest a little bit, to pull back before it continues lower. So I'm expecting that pullback to happen around this area. So when prices comes here, I will buy again, and my stops will be there. So that's my setup. And I'll just look for a quick scalp. I'm not looking for to swing this or anything. If we go to the 1 minute chart, there's these levels there. Yeah, Daniel, you saw the same demand I'm seeing here. So you see how the buyers are trying to get active now. You see how the price is forming. Let me bring this here. But they're failing to really bring this higher. Okay, let's see how that candle forms, and if it closes there, that will be my second entry signal. So just watching how the price, how the candles are forming. You can see for every green candle, the sellers come back again. So I just need a quick retracement. We need to be patient. Okay, let's take the trade. And my stop, same place. In fact, I'll tell you what, if that forms a pivot point, I will bring my stops tighter. So I will reduce risk. Okay, that's how I'll manage risk on this trade. This is a great time for those of you who like Fibonacci's, for example. Where's a good target area? So maybe the 23 aligns with a break, these breaks, these lows here. And I don't know if you saw the webinar we did on buying and scaling in and out on positions. So this is a great example of how to scale in on a losing position, correct? I had the first trade, the first entry point, and price moved in my, against me a little bit, but still inside a setup, okay? The setup was very, very clear. So, so trading small really gives you the opportunity to try and look for better entry points on your trade. So now my first entry, which wasn't great, I can close it. Okay, I can close that one. I could let it, open, and maybe just trade my stop or something. But by identifying different entry points, we can be more precise on our entries. So, okay, so now the market's doing what we thought it would. Okay, the overextension came to a demand. It is reacting now to the demand area. How deep will be the reaction? I have no idea, correct? But I've done my job. This might fail and just move lower, and I'll take the loss. But I was very, I guess I was very precise in my entry, in my second entry. So now a good scalp is possible right now. And then I need to close the trade because I'm expecting the market to continue lower. Actually, I'm not expecting to go all the way up. So I'm just looking for the pullback on this market before it continues lower. So again, 5 pips, 10 pips, whatever. That's an achievable goal. And here you can see we try to, on the euro, we try to break higher, and we failed. There hasn't been continuation. Immediately after the breaking candle, there's a response from the sellers. So unless this continues quickly to the upside and it starts moving, I will look for divergence. This is a great divergence setup. So I'll look for a divergence setup, and I might short, but it's still early. And here, again, how we manage the trade is very personal. We can take profits, we can trail our stop, we can let it run a little bit deeper. Okay, let's give it some more minutes to that trade. Let's look at CAD EN 4 hour. Let's look at that. CAD EN. $787, a valid. Steph, what do you mean by SD? You mean supply? Supply and demand? Yeah, that would be a supply area. That's a nice one. Yeah, great supply. It's not demand, it's above the price, so that would be a supply area. That's a nice one. So prices reaching that area that's a good short. And that would be, and that might form also a Quasimodo. So we have the left shoulder and the head. This might be the right shoulder already, but it can form a Quasimodo or a double top or something. That's a nice short. That's a nice one. Yeah, still learning. Yeah, keep learning, keep coming, and you will learn more and more supply and demand, and price action and everything. Guys, I don't see anything lining up for us. I hope there was. There's not always the market does what we think it will and line up just when we're in front of the chart. So sometimes we just need to wait or do nothing or whatever. I think we're up here. I'm waiting for this, possible scenarios. This breaks down. I'm out of the trade for a small loss. Move sideways. I might consider, I don't know, holding or just getting out. And if this retraces and pushes higher, then I'll take some profits. Okay. And here, okay, this is now breaking up. So now my short is invalidated. I need for price to, again, or either move sideways or retrace, and then I will buy because the final target is the red line. Remember that. My prices will try to get to that red line in the next hours. So I'll try to join that bullish trend. Guys, thanks for coming. That was a fun session, and keep trading. I'm not sure we're going to be holding the rest of the week. We're going to be out of the office, so I'm not sure there's going to be a trading room tomorrow and Thursday. But check your mails and you will get updates on that. And in case there isn't, we'll see you next week, guys. So have a nice day and happy trading. Bye-bye.